You were talking about how wealth goes away after a few generations and how you actually had a team that was studying Vanderbilt and a bunch of other generationally wealthy people to make sure that this doesn't happen with your family. What did you find out from these studies? And what strategy are you going to employ to teach the right things in your children to make sure that the wealth stays?
Yeah, you know, this whole thing got started when I interviewed this guy. I keep forgetting his name. So this guy, his job is to deal with families that are worth $100 million and higher to make sure their kids turn out well. That's his job. Think about what an interesting job that is. And he's in Seattle. Why is that important? Amazon, Microsoft, a lot of billionaires, a lot of hectomillionaires, definitely a lot of decamillionaires, right? And I said, what was the common theme you realized with when you got there to help the families? What was it, Patrick? 99% of the time it's too late. They call me once their kid is already a drug addict. They call me once their kid is already a alcoholic. They call me after they already got their kids 3 Lamborghinis. They already gave them, flying all over the place on a private jet. It's done. There's nothing you can do about it at that time. 20 years ago, I read a book called Ultimate Gift. I don't know if you've ever read the book Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall, who I believe is blind and deaf. He wrote this book, Ultimate Gift. It's like 100 pages. I read it. I bought 1,000 copies. I sold it to all my guys. I said, you guys all got to read it. This is the book of the month. The story is about a guy who moves to Texas, works for this guy, who when he dies, the guy leaves him the land. And this guy, I think his name is Rex in the book, or Rand, something like that. The land that he gives to this employee of his ends up being a land filled with oil. So he strikes oil. So he becomes a billionaire. And when this guy becomes a billionaire, he's got massive accounts, companies, oil, thousands of employees, beautiful big house, properties all over the place. And then he realizes he spoiled everybody. He spoiled his wife, his kids, everyone. His best friend is his lawyer of 40 years. So he sits with his lawyer and he says, look, I want to do a couple things. He says, what's that? I want to make a video that I want you to play the day I die when everybody shows up to get their inheritance, and I want you to play that video for them. So can we shoot that video together? He says, great. What do you think I should say in the video to make a list? Great. And the old video starts, right? He's talking to them. In the video, he says, if I ever play this video, it's because I'm dead. Then he creates 12 other videos. So anyways, let me first tell you what the first video is. The day comes when he dies. Family shows up. His sons, his wife with 2 young men, and all of these guys are showing up. I think his daughter with 2 young men, and all these guys are. It's like, oh, they're smiling all this. Hey, and they're talking to the lawyer because the lawyer is the guy he trusted the most, and the lawyer knew everyone's drug addict, habits, everything. Plays the video. Hi, if you're watching this video, it's because I'm dead. Let me tell you what this is all about today. You're here. You're happy. You're probably smiling, because you're going to get your inheritance. This is a big day for you. You see them, they kind of feel like uncomfortable, but they're smiling. And he says, to you, my such and such daughter or son, I'm going to leave you my $600 million account that I have with, my investments. However, you're going to live off the interest. That money's not for you. My advisor makes all the decisions financially. You don't get to tell him anything what to do. The money is hopefully going to go to your grandkids if they behave, and if you can show that you can manage this money well. To my other son, I'm going to give my real estate portfolio, whatever, $500 million. But guess what? The cleaners have more say about the house than you do. The property manager has more say than you do. And he's kind of going through that. And he says, you're going to get this, the company. But you don't get to run the company. My board runs the company. You're not even the chairman of the board. It's just the shares. And all of this is written with the lawyers. And they're going through, everybody's pissed off, walking out, pissed off, walking out, pissed off, walking out. And he says, to my nephew, I don't have anything to give you. But one thing, you're not going to get a car. You're not going to get a house. You're not going to get stocks. You're the only one here that I haven't spoiled. You're the only one that has a chance at life. What I have for you is the ultimate gift. The ultimate gift is going to take 12 months for you to realize what it is. I have 12 videos I've created just for you. Every Tuesday, if you choose to find out what the ultimate gift is, you come in to my lawyer, my best friend's office. He plays one video, you watch the video, then you have 30 days of what you need to do. 12 months later, you get the ultimate gift, and you see the nephew is like all upset, pissed off. He says, you're probably not happy right now, and I understand. And you're probably going to walk out. It's a scene that he's walking out. He says, however, son, I just want to tell you, you have a shot at living a fulfilling life if you choose to come back on Tuesday to find out the ultimate gift. That book motivated me. I was 25 years old when I read this book. 24 years old when I read this book. So this thought I've been thinking about for a while. And so when you think about some of these families that did it right, they spoiled their kids. They weren't there for their kids. They didn't manage their kids. They bought their kids love with gifts. It's like, I don't buy gifts for my kids. If you ask my wife how many gifts I bought for my kids, I'm not a guy that buys gifts for my kids. I'll say things like, hey, Daddy, can we get that Lego? That Lego is $10. Hey, Daddy, can we get that video game? That video game is $20. Hey, Daddy, can we go buy the new FIFA? You finish Atlas Shrugged, you'll get it. Hey, Daddy, I want to get right now, my youngest son picked up Fountainhead by himself. He's on page 250 or something. He knows if they finish Fountainhead and a few other things, this guy's been working on this for 2 years. They're about to get their treehouse. But the treehouse they've been asking for 4 years. It's been 4 years till they get their treehouse. What is a treehouse if I buy it? 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand? It's not a lot of money. I don't have a problem with that part, but I want them to earn it. Everything for me is with them busting their asses. My son's schedule every day after he gets off school, 3 to 4 he swims. 4 to 5 is soccer, 5 to 6 is jiu-jitsu, 6 to 7 is baseball. By the time he comes home, he asked me a question the other night. He says, Daddy, do I have a busy schedule or is this a normal schedule for all kids? I said, that's very normal. He says, because when I talk to my friends, they don't have my schedule. I said, they don't want to tell you the truth. Everybody has this kind of a schedule. I said, but listen, here's what I will tell you. He said, what's that? You're a Bet David. I don't care what the Joneses schedule is. I don't care what the Jackson schedule is. This is the Bet David schedule. Okay? And this is the schedule you're going to go on. But Daddy loves you. I'm here for you. We're going to celebrate victories. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I think it has to be something you think about. But even with parenting, you can do everything right, and the kid can still screw up. You can do everything right. They still have the choice to make. They can still hook up with whoever they want to. They can still choose to have sex without a condom with a girl they met at a club and get that girl. All of these things are still possible. They can still be tempted on one day they're pissed off at their daddy, and they walk away and say, you're just too much. My girlfriend is right. You are a capitalist. All you care about is money. That's your God. You don't love us. You could buy me this car. You could buy me the house like the other person is doing. But you are so cheap because all you care about is your money. I know that moment is coming. I know it is coming. But I'm good with it. And I'm going to stand my ground because I'm banking by 25, 30 if they get through that ugly phase of hating dad, the 3 phases you got to go through with your father. You idolize, you demonize, you humanize. I'm in the idolize phase right now. The demonize phase comes next. That's not going to be pretty for me. But I have to be strong enough of a leader to be able to handle the next phase. So it's a tough job, but you never know what's going to happen. As long as you prepare early, you got a fighting chance.
Do you let them watch TV, go on the internet, social media? How do you control that, or do you?
No, everything is structured. My kids still don't have a phone. All their friends have phones. They don't have phones.
What are the ages of your kids? Just for the
11, 9, 7, 2. Okay. In our house, when you turn 6 years old, you have to read 20 pages every day. Okay. In the books, there's steps on what you go through next. And then when you have to read a serious books like, whatever that was, something of fire or, not a Hunger Games. There's a couple of these books like Harry Potter or, sure, some of these serious things that you need to go through for your imagination to kind of see the different stuff that's out there. And then you're going to read some real books when you're 9 years old, 1,000-page type of books to kind of go through it. But video games, there's no iPad throughout the week. 0 iPad throughout the week. Saturday, Sundays, if you have a C in your class, there is no iPad at all, ever. 0. If you have 1 C, you get no iPad. Not on Saturdays, not on Sundays, nothing. So my son, one of them has a C. Guess what? There is no iPad for him. However, Saturday, Sunday, you wake up. This morning, my daughter woke up at 7 o'clock. She read her book. Came, Daddy, I read the book. What'd you learn about it? Here's what I learned about the founding fathers. I learned that this, I learned that this, and I learned that this president is this. 7-year-old daughter. I said, great, babe, you can go play iPad for an hour, okay? Because she's made up all her assignments for the week. When it comes down to TV, if you haven't read, you can't watch TV. Same thing. On the weekends, I pick movies. We take turns on movies and all that stuff on what they can do, and that's kind of what we do with it. Now, let me go to the C side. I need leverage to get my kids to get smarter and read the content and study the material that I want them to read. I'm watching my son. He hasn't played iPad for 3 months. And I'm like, you're wasting an opportunity because he doesn't have a desire to learn. He's just waiting for the C to become a B so he can play iPad. I said, we got to figure something out. I said, here's what we're going to do. For every documentary you watch that I choose, an hour documentary, you'll get 30 minutes on the weekends. And this is during summer season. So guess what? You watch 40 documentaries, You got some hours, but if you watch 3 documentaries this week, you got an hour and a half over the weekend. So my sons have watched the entire Man in the Arena, Captain, The Last Dance, Pele, all these documentaries, the plane that went missing, JFK assassination, all of this stuff for their brain to be vibrating at what happened here, what do you think happened here, what do you think happened there? But that's the system we've created. You have to exercise, you have to take care of your body, but that's the system.